let's get into some of the bands we already talked about God Forbid, and now Bad Wolves. You guys, like we said, was it 2018 was Disobey?
Yeah. We put a song, our first song came out in 2017.
Okay.
Learn to Live, and then I wish we put out a couple songs and then spent like a year like getting a record deal and kind of doing the whole thing before the album came out.
Okay. Well, I was listening to it. I only heard what I've heard on Active Rock, to be honest, like
Sure.
on some of the stations, like the singles, and then after I saw you, actually, I started listening to a little bit. I was like, oh, Bad Wolves. I didn't even realize like it wasn't on my radar. And I was listening to Disobey, and I was like, this is like proggy as shit. Like the rhythms on it, like and your drummer. I didn't follow Devil Driver very much. So I had no idea what kind of drummer he was, and it really showed on that record. Like he's pretty insane.
Well, he relearned how to play. He started training with Dave Elitch and completely changed his technique, changed like the types of drums he played.
Wow.
Like he completely, and so that record was really like a reflection of him kind of displaying that evolution, you know. And even that first record it's fascinating. Basically, like most of it was written by John and this guy Max Caron, who was the original guitar player, and Max is one of those genius guys. Like,
okay.
So there, it was like an amalgamation of that, and then Tommy joined, and a lot of the vocal stuff, and it was, you know, Tommy helped kind of solidify everything. But that record, it was like, it was this kind of heavy, proggy, but very catchy, you know, kind of,
right.
You know, like to me, it was almost like when I first heard it, because like I said, I joined and they pretty much had like a record done,
mm-hmm.
and it was like, oh, this is like Periphery and Seven Dust had a baby or something.
That's,
you know,
yeah.
that's kind of, you know, how I perceived it, and it was very challenging because a lot of that djenty rhythm style was a little alien for me because I'm a thrash metal dude,
right.
you know, and so I had to kind of just relearn everything and kind of really kind of tear the stuff down and try and figure out how to understand that kind of musical
Those patterns
language.
are very intricate.
Yeah,
and then like some of the guitar runs that it's not just the djenty rhythmic pattern, right? It's also the runs that follow in and out of those djenty shit.
It's very challenging even to this day, a lot of that stuff. But then the band got a record deal, and you know, Zoltan from Five Finger started managing the band, and that brought in, at the time, it was called 11-7 Records, now it's Better Noise. And all of a sudden, you have basically the number one rock radio label in the world. And so it basically allowed, and then Tommy had Zombie from this other band, and he already had that. And then
is that right?
And
that was the cover of the
and then so we had this like super heavy kind of proggy weird record, but very catchy. Then that, and then when that whole thing happened with Dolores O'Riordan passing away and the song coming out and taking off, they wanted, we needed more stuff in that vein. So then there was this other song called Hear Me Now that the band had different versions of that we finished, and then Remember When. So it was like this kind of weird thing where like there was this one record, and then almost like these kind of more radio quote unquote type songs were kind of added, and even the songs like No Masters and a handful of that stuff was I'd say like 40% of the record was put together after we had a record deal, and then a lot of that stuff that was even proggier and crazier, it became like B-sides and things like that.
That's interesting because it's, as a listener after the fact, not knowing that, it's pretty seamless. Like I don't think I would have noticed that.
That's good. I mean, it's so hard for me to like.
Well, you can't. You can't take yourself
I have a different perception. No,
yeah.
because when I first joined the band, all I'm doing is playing these crazy hard songs.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, there's this like whole rock side of the band, which by the way, I was actually very happy with because John asked me to join the band before it was even a band. It was just him and Max back when I first moved to LA. And I remember hearing the demos, and I'm just like, just coming off God Forbid, I actually didn't want to join a super heavy metal band. I was like, almost like worn out from just the intensity. And I had this band called Vegas Nerve that I was doing kind of prog rock, still like some technicality, but I was enjoying doing something a little more spacious and kind of exploratory. And I wanted to kind of work this other kind of different musical muscle. And so it was kind of a relief when we started introducing more rock elements into Bad Wolves, because I didn't want to be in a band that was just full on the whole time.
Nation definitely was a departure from all that, right?
Yeah, it was. I mean, I think Nation was trying to find a better balance, because there's still, on Nation, I think Nation is almost a little more, I don't know if schizophrenic is the right word, but it's more extreme on the ends. It's like really super kind of mainstream poppy stuff, and then stuff that's really, really heavy.
Yeah, that was just a lot of like four on the floor,
Yeah.
Arena rock stuff, that a lot of the arena rock verses I heard on
Yeah,
Nation.
and that's, and even with the last record, I think, trying to figure out the balance, like who is the band when you can do anything, right? When you can have basically an acoustic ballad and a death metal song on a record,
Yeah.
and it all kind of, you've done all that, it leaves it up to you to figure out what exactly is the balance. And I think it's just this weird thing with us where we're all metal dudes, right? Or, metalcore scene dudes and all this stuff. But then the songs for the band that have done the biggest has been more the radio stuff. So you got to figure, as a creator, do you do something to please that audience, or do you do something to make yourself happy, and figure out that balance? Because if you take that risk, right, and it's not well received, maybe it has these difficult impacts. So I think,
right.
And that's a collective thing where from each album, we're like figuring out like, how do we strike that balance?
Right. I think that's that's probably the smart approach, to be honest. But for me, I don't know, man. Just coming from like the punk rock roots too, I'm just kind of like, yeah, I'm just gonna write what I fucking feel, and if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't.
No, I know, and that's how I want it to be. But I think when you have these like collaborative environments where it's like there's no, like, I'm not the boss of anything. I can't tell. It's like figuring out hopefully collectively where everyone sits, because
a place where everyone's comfortable.
Yeah, because if this person wants this and this person wants that.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember having discussions, on this last record about not, maybe me not wanting a certain song on the record that, even though I thought it was a good song, it's like, it's a little, too in that direction. I kind of, and it's like this push and pull between like the balance of a record and and it was also tough for us having the vocalist change, because
it seems like I don't know, we don't need to go too far. Are you guys still in litigation with Avenged?
No. That all that stuff we literally settled the day the album came out.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
That's good news. Yeah, it kind of sounds like, from peripherally, I just kind of look at it and I'm like, is that the right word? Anyway,
Peripherally.
Peripherally.
I think.
Thank you. Sure, whatever.
That's right.
From the outside looking in, it just seemed like he kind of lost his mind a little bit there. I don't know.
Well, I will decline to comment on that.
That's all good.
But it was, I think it was a difficult situation. I think ugly band divorces, I hate it from the outside looking in. Anytime I see, like, looking at the Every Time I Die situation, for example, is kind of heartbreaking, because I know all those guys for years, and you just, it's like seeing your parents fight or something. It's definitely not fun. It was a very difficult situation, but I also feel like, I don't know, your sense of self is kind of designed by the diversity you experience.
Right.
So like, adversity, not diversity.
Diversity is a different subject.
Adversity. See, the French 75 is starting to work. That's the thing with the Drinks with Johnny. He gets you liquored up, and he starts asking you the tough questions.
Going back to the 20 minutes in, I think we're a little past 20 minutes, but it kicks in a little bit with the drinks.
I know. I think the acid he put in here is starting to really work.